Hello everyone and welcome to your TV show EU After Brexit. Today we are very pleased to receive Clémence and Adam, students at the Master 1 degree in International and European Business Law at the Faculty of Law of the Lille Catholique University. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today we will discuss the impact Brexit will have on competition law. Competition law, which is of great importance in the EU, as one of its aims is to have a competitive internal market. We will focus today on two practices, which are abuse of dominant position and cartels. Could you first briefly explain what are these practices and how they are regulated under EU law?
Yes, so for example, for the abuse of dominant position, if we take the case of a company which will increase its prices because they have a dominant position in the market, this will be prohibited under competition law, and more precisely under Article 102 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, which states that any abusive conduct from an undertaking is prohibited under competition law if it affects trade between member states.
Okay, and what about cartels?
Cartels are determined by the Article 101 TF-EU, which states that all agreements between undertakings, decisions by associations or undertakings, and concerted practices shall be prohibited as incompatible with the internal market.
Okay, and are these practices also regulated under UK law?
Yes, they are regulated, and through the application of two important text laws in UK domestic law, which are the Competition Act of 1998 and the Enterprise Act of 2002, which help UK authorities to regulate any practice that will go against the principle of competition law, such as abuse of dominant position and cartels.
Okay, so we understand that these practices are regulated both at national and European levels, but how is the current system built? Which are the competent bodies to enforce these provisions?
The current system is built on a cooperation between national and European authorities within the European Competition Network. It enables national authorities to enforce European competition law. The European Court of Justice, in the STM case of 1966, interpreted its power to rule on cartel cases in a broad way. The agreement must have a direct or indirect influence on the trade between EU member states. Then we have the CMA, which is the Competition and Market Authority, and sectorial regulators, which have the power to investigate and prosecute alleged criminal cases, cartel cases, in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Their decisions are limited to all anti-competitive behavior within the UK.
And do you think that this system is effective? I mean, what are the consequences for such practices?
Yes, I think this system is effective because the sanctions of the national authorities mirror the sanctions of the European authorities, which are a fine up to 10% of worldwide turnover, a declaration that the agreement is void, and the disqualification of directors up to 15 years. In 2017, for example, the CMA fined furniture parts firms £2.8 million for market-sharing cartel activity. In 2019, the European Commission fined Coros and Group Secab €31.6 million for canned vegetable cartels.
Also, these are really important fines. So we can wonder how Brexit will affect these regulations.
This is a really good question because there were real concern regarding the possible no-deal Brexit scenario that will have a significantly affect trade between member states. However, we saw that they found an agreement for the transition period of Brexit, so the regulation system will be the same as before with the EU network and the European Commission that will have really important powers for the regulation. However, if after the transition period they don't find an agreement with Europe, there will be significantly impacts for the regulation because the CMA will possibly have more powers for the regulation.
Okay, so we can expect that there will be no major change during the transition period, right?
Yes.
Okay, so one last question will be, do you think, and if yes, to what extent, that Brexit will have an impact on businesses and on third parties?
Yes, I think Brexit will have an impact. For example, for businesses from non-EU member states, like Asian or United States businesses, the European competition law applies as long as the agreement or conduct, like the abuse of dominant positions, affects the market between EU member states. This will be the case for UK businesses. For consumers, decisions of UK regulators and of the European Commission are binding upon national courts. This means that the protection for consumers is still on.
Okay, so thanks for this clarification. Thanks to both of you for your answers today on such a broad topic. It was a great pleasure to have you. Thanks to you for watching this show. Goodbye.
Okay.